Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Here's the hard truth. It might not just be because you have a lower income. It might not be because of bad luck. It could be that you're living well outside of your means. And trust me, it's not only costing you money, it is also costing you peace of mind. It is costing you your future, even your financial freedom. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the real cost of living beyond your means, how to break free from it before it is too late. Now, when we look at people and when you think about people that are living well above their means, you picture maxed out credit cards, luxury cars, designer clothes, a massive house. But the real price tag is not always that obvious because a lot of people, roughly 64%, are living paycheck to paycheck. So what is really happening in this scenario? First one, guys, it is the interest and the debt snowball. When we think of Dave Ramsey and really the debt repayment snowball, the exact same thing happens, but entirely in reverse when you start buying things and swiping those cards for things you can't afford. You're not just paying for that item, you are also paying interest for that item, sometimes 15, 20, 25%, which means if you put $100 on your card today for that impulse purchase that you absolutely had to have, you might end up spending 120, 130, even $150 for that exact same item by the time that you are done paying it off. Now, the second one, you're losing investment opportunities. This is one of the biggest things that you can never get back. For every extra dollar that you spent on an item, that is a dollar that could have been invested, could be compounding for future you. Instead of growing your wealth, you are growing your debt by living outside of your means, and it is super expensive. And of course, the mental stress. A lot of people don't realize this, but money problems are the number one cause and the absolute top cause when it comes to relationship and your personal health. Living beyond your means creates a background of really financial anxiety. So if you're not going to pay with money, and if you don't have money to buy it, you're paying with time, you're paying with opportunity, you are also paying with your energy. So what can we do about it? So let's be real. Most of us don't intend to overspend, which is very honest. So why exactly does this happen? Lifestyle inflation. We have talked about this before. Lifestyle inflation, if you want to call it keeping up with the Joneses, if it is going to be lifestyle creep, every time your income increases, most of the spending follows. It does go hand in hand. And there's been an incredible amount of studies that absolutely prove this. Instead of banking that extra money, you upgrade your car, upgrade your technology, need a new TV, need a new phone, got some bigger vacation plans. Most people do not take when they get a raise, when they get a bonus, anything like that, using it for investing, using it for future you, even using it for debt repayment. Now, a lot of this comes from social media. When you look at platforms, you're looking at Instagram, you're looking at TikTok, has really turned comparison of my life and your life into a full-time job. You see people around your age living very lavish lifestyles, and you are really seeing the highlight reels of an individual. You don't know exactly their financial situation. You don't know if they're living way outside of their means. Might make you feel like you're falling behind. And of course, easy credit. When it comes to borrowing money for a majority of people, regardless of the rate is 0%, 12%, 20%, even 35%, banks practically throw credit cards out there. It is really a game. 0 interest for 12 months sounds incredibly well with your spending until that 13-month hits. And then all of a sudden, you have to make a much higher payment and interest is starting to be tacked on. Now, it's not always greed. A lot of it comes from psychology, a lot of it from the environment or even habits that you're used to, how you kind of grew up. But understanding the why really makes a big difference. And it is the first step to overcoming and really reining it back to live with inside of your means. So of course, we think of compounding. This is when it gets dangerous. And being a certified financial counselor, I have dealt with this a crazy amount of time. It gets super dangerous living beyond your means when it compounds over an extended amount of time. So think about this for a minute. If you spend $500 a month and you're overspending outside of your income, for instance, if you're making $5,000, you're spending $5,500, you're adding a lot more with that overspending. You're looking at $60,000 over 10 years without counting the interest that you paid at that point, adding credit card interest and really the loss that you could have investment. This can be 6 figures within 10 years just because of that compounding aspect. That is the difference between retiring early or working till you're 72, which is well above the retirement age. The more you delay fixing it, the more you delay adjusting your balance and adjusting your budget, the steeper the climb is going to be and the more difficult it is going to be to get back on track. So how do we break the cycle? Good news is you can reverse it and you can start it today. It is accountability. It is about you. When we think of Dave Ramsey, they talk about tracking every dollar. That is really the beginning. When you look at your budget, when you start building awareness of where your money is going, where you're overspending, where you have the ability to cut back, this could be in your fixed income or your fixed expenses. This could also be in your liabilities. When you look at that bucket of your bills, what can you cut back on, even if it is temporary? Getting the point to getting a budget on balance and really getting it under living below your means, making sure again that you're spending roughly 85 to 90% of your income. You're not spending 105%. Now set a spending limit. This is one where if you have to do this, really living within your means is an essential. If you're making $4,000 a month, save for $3,500. Make sure that you're only spending and that budget is built for $3,500, giving you a $500 cushion. Now, a lot of people might not be able to get this out of the get-go, but again, when you start looking at your budget, when you start reviewing everything, you can actually see places where you can cut, whether it's a couple expenses, maybe some memberships, maybe even some subscription plans for some places, making sure that you can cut back. This is easy to do when you delay your purchases. This is something that I have tried and true, and I've actually done this for years. Waiting 48 hours before you buy anything that is non-essential. Most of the time, it will pass, the urge will pass. You won't buy the item because you realize it was really just an impulse purchase and it's not something that you actually leave. Now, to make this easier, automate your savings, automate your debt payments, paying yourself first before spending a dime. There is a reason why when it comes to financial counseling, when it comes to financial education, people talk about this all the time. If you get 100% of your income when you get paid, if you set aside that first 10% for you, paying yourself first, making sure that you're investing, making sure you have it for debt repayment, living on the rest of that 90% can be an absolute game changer for the rest of your life. And of course, cutting lifestyle creep. If you think about it, if you keep living like you're earning less, eventually when you get a raise, you're not going to put it towards bigger and better things. You're not going to be buying a bigger house, a bigger car, more expensive tech, upgrading everything you need. Because if you stay at the same level, you really do have two buckets and you have two options. The first one is earning more income. If you have the ability to generate more income, and not just the generation of income, but also being to keep the income that you're generating, the more that you can keep, the more you have accessibility to deploy it, whether it's debt repayment, whether it's investing. The second bucket that you have is your liabilities. If you have the ability to cut some of those fixed expenses, cut some of those variable expenses, the third bucket is what you're going to have. And essentially, that's almost like your utility bucket, which again, you can use for debt repayment. You can use to go ahead and invest. You can go ahead and save. When you get a raise, the income bucket gets bigger. If you're growing and really reducing that liability bucket, it is going to make a big change for the rest of your life. So living beyond your means might feel like a good for the moment, but it is a very slow leak for the future you. The sooner you take control, the sooner you can start building real wealth. That gives you options, gives you financial freedom, also gives you that peace of mind. So if you found anything in this video that was helpful, hit the like button. More people can see it and we can get the word out. Subscribe for more financial freedom tips and drop a comment down below. What has been your biggest money trap in here? Remember, wealth isn't about the amount of money you earn. It is about the amount of money that you keep at the end of the month. So start keeping more of that paycheck you're getting starting today. And let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video.